Hi, this is Dominic Keating. I played Lieutenant Malcolm Reed on Enterprise, as you probably know, and you are listening to the NX 7062 podcast. Enjoy.
Yes, you are. You're all listening to NO70. See, it's been so long I forgot how to say my own name. Yes, you are. You're listening to the NX 7062 podcast. I am back. Hi, everybody. Nancy, Word Dog, Uncle Hairball, Dave. I knew I was forgetting somebody, Robert Plant. And here's the deal, Nancy. I was sneaking around. If you want to know what Dave looks like, all you got to do is come to STLV. I know what Dave looks like because we were at STLV together. Fact, was it preview night before preview night? Run into him at the casino bar. Pretty much right when everything was happening. So anyway, I am so glad that you guys are all here. I'm glad you waited for me. Just kind of needed to take some time off, catch my breath. And now I am back. So let's start with Nancy, I don't think you're talking to me. Oh, did I get any pictures of Dave? I don't think so, but you know what? This is how I am about pictures. It's really rare that I take pictures. Which Connor bristled at. I'm more of an in the moment girl. I actually don't do a lot of like picture taking. I'm in some pictures, but I don't do a lot of my own picture taking at STLV. Except for the ones that I do kind of with my actor buddies that I only get to see once or twice a year. But outside of that, I don't do a lot of picture taking. I don't know. I just almost never remember to like pull out my camera. Anyway, hey Travis. So let's start with the Shuttle Pod show since we are the Shuttle Pod show after party. Yes, I am aware that Connor left, of course, just like all of you found out. I found out the exact same way. And I am just as gutted as all of you are. So I obviously wish Connor and Dominic the best. If there is something new on the horizon for them, can't wait to see what it is. And the Shuttle Pod show continues, new chapter. So we just have to wait for Mark to turn the page, and we'll all find out together exactly what the next phase of the Shuttle Pod show is going to be. And I am just I'm just as excited as everybody else to kind of see what's up and what's next. Yeah, Travis, I'm not gonna lie. Loved the Shuttle Pod show, love Connor and Dominic. But yeah, I mean it is what it is. Everything, what was the title of the final episode of TNG? All good things. Robert, are you the only? Yes, they both left. They both left. Connor announced a week ago on his Instagram. So yes, they both left. All right, moving on. I just wanted to kind of get that out of the way. Moving on. I'm going to San Francisco. If you guys didn't see my post, kind of happened very suddenly, literally last minute. A very, very generous person gifted me their room. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to go. So I'm really excited. I get to go to San Francisco, check out the new creation, San Fran Con. I think what really excites me the most is I haven't been back to San Francisco since I was in high school. Can't say I'm going to see much of it because I am literally flying in and out. In Thursday afternoon, out Sunday night after everything's over. I booked a late flight. My mom's birthday's Monday. My mom's birthday's Monday the 11th, so I didn't want to wait and fly in on Monday because I didn't think that was fair. I want to be here for as much of her birthday as possible, so I'm taking a late flight on Sunday so I can stay for the whole convention, and then I'll get in. Thanks, Dave, and I'll get in on early Sunday morning. Well, hello, Magic Lasso. Always love a man that's true to his word. Lasso told me earlier he was coming. So anyway, I am really, really excited to be going to San Francisco. Can't wait to see everybody. I'll tell her you said that. Thanks, Travis. Can't wait to see everybody out there. Renewing some newer acquaintances. And what really excites me the most is that a couple of friends of mine that I went on Star Trek The Cruise with, that's actually how I met them, And I don't think I've seen them since Star Trek The Cruise 3, which was in 2019. I don't think I've actually seen them since then. I'm finally going to get a chance to see them for the first time since then, and I am so excited. They live in San Fran. They're only going to be going to the convention for a day, but they said they try and come down and see me at some point before Sunday. So I'm really excited. I can't wait. Plus, believe it or not, I actually have my friend's sweat jacket because one of those, give me your address, I'll mail it to you. Never mailed it. So he has to see me because he wants his sweat jacket back even after all these years. Okay, so I am back and I was doing a little bit of work around the show, and I might have some really cool changes coming, including a very amazing episode that I am trying to put together. Don't want to say anything about it, don't want to jinx it, but there are emails going back and forth, and I'm hoping to have a very amazing episode, hopefully this month. Just don't know when yet because dates haven't been finalized, but everybody cross their fingers and their toes that this works out. And I can't wait till I can publicly announce. So now on to tonight's really cool topic that you guys all had extra time to think about. And I will tell you, and I can't decide if I want to get right into what my brand new favorite is, or maybe talk about some of my old favorites, but I have a brand new favorite TV show that's non-Trek that made a huge Star Trek reference, and it actually inspired me to put this show together. But I think I'm going to save it for a little bit. So the first thing I am going to say right now is Big Bang Theory and Young Sheldon do not count. Do not mention any references to Star Trek in the Big Bang Theory or Young Sheldon. Those shows were literally kind of based on a love of Star Trek, that kind of stuff. It's too obvious. It does not count. I am talking about shows like Days of Our Lives, okay? My favorite soap opera. I swear there was somebody who used to write for that show that loved science fiction. Gil Gerard, actually, back in the 80s, came on, had a recurring character for very, very few episodes. And for those of you that don't know who Gil Gerard is, he was Buck Rogers in the 25th century. And I swear that at some point, there was a plane crash and the tail of the plane said NCC something, something, something. Now we're going back to the 80s. My memory isn't perfect. And I looked it up just because I was curious about whether NCC was a thing. And I looked it up, and American registries for planes do start on I know, Oxtail. Welcome, welcome. So glad you could be here. So American registries do have different letters that the ID numbers or the tail numbers, or whatever you call them, can start with. NC and NX. Yes, it is live, no Oxtail. NC and NX are actually American designations for planes, but I don't think NCC is. And I swear there was a tail of a plane that said NCC. And for some reason, I just remember thinking there's somebody that likes Star Trek on the writing staff of Days of Our Lives. And right now, actually, Days of Our Lives. Thanks, Nancy. That's right. Everybody hit the like button. What Nancy said. Right now in Days, there's a character named Trip, and I know that's a stretch. I just thought it was funny that a character came on named Trip. Just saying. A couple of my other favorites, and you guys better be thinking, because I expect to see some stuff in the chats about I know Nancy and I were talking before the show, and she gave me some really cool stuff. But I'm going to start with probably what really ranks up there right now as my second favorite. Well, might be tied for first, because I can't completely move this one out of my favorite position. Quantum Leap. Travis has it. Yes, Quantum Leap definitely definitely does. Sci-fi shows are kind of easy when it comes to stuff like that, but yeah. In fact, there's I found a website that had a list of like the top 10 shows that made sci-fi references, that made Star Trek references. Buffy actually had a Locutus of Borg reference, which I thought was really funny. What are some of the otthe ones? I can't. Stargate, was it Stargate or Star something? but South Park and Matt and Trey are obviously fans of Star Trek. The one that I was thinking of that I remembered as I was doing this was there was an episode where there was a mirror universe and a Cartman came through with the Spock goatee, and he was super nice. That was his mirror universe. He was super, super nice. And I remember that the two Cartmans got in a big fight at the end, and the South Parks in the Prime universe really wanted to keep the nice Cartman, but mean Cartman ripped off his goatee so you couldn't tell who was who, and they sent the nice Cartman back by accident. So that was really cool, and I love it because I don't think they ever really said Star Trek. I love it when it's that subtle, like we're not saying Star Trek, but super nice Cartman with a goatee. Y'all know, if you know. Castle was on that list, Dave. That is so funny. Castle is on that list, and that doesn't surprise me because Castle is Nathan Fillion, so that fits. See, because you know what? Because that's the writers being really cute. Because Castle is Castle, but we all know that he was also the captain of the Serenity and Firefly. So when you've got Castle making sci-fi references, I love those little subtle kind of nods to the science fiction community. If you know, you know. Like on Big Bang Theory, this like I said, Big Bang Theory is literally built on Star Trek, so it doesn't technically count. But when Sheldon went to Will Wheaton's house number was 1701. And I thought that was subtle, and I like the subtlety. And well, Robert, you happen to be in the presence of somebody who might just be able to answer that question for you, Lasso. Yep. There was a Supernatural on that list too. Absolutely. What's funny is these do not count as Star Trek references. But Mark Alimo is in an episode of Wonder Woman. Was it just on this weekend? It was towards the end of the third season. It's called Phantom of the Amusement Park, and I will get corrected if I'm wrong, but I know it's Phantom of, and I think it's Phantom of the Amusement Park. Lasso will correct me if I'm wrong, but Mark Alimo was in it, and of course he played a bad guy, just with no makeup on. And I know Lasso because I know there was a Star Trek reference because I just saw that episode. It's on H&I. Wonder Woman is actually on Max. Wonder Woman is on Max. You can sit and binge watch Wonder Woman on Max if you have it. Technically, there's one where she moves to California that's setting up there was supposed to be setting up the fourth season where she moved to California, which would have really pissed me off because I love Steve Trevor. But there's one where she moves to California that's actually supposed to take place after that one, where she's just moving into her house. It's called The Man Who Couldn't Die. Again, I am nodding to the one and only Magic Lasso. I think that's what The Man Who Couldn't Be Killed, Man Who Couldn't Die. Yes, Mark is great at playing bad. Thank you, Travis. I agree. The order they recorded and the air dates are different. But I haven't seen The Man Who Couldn't Die. Did The Man Who Couldn't Die? And it makes no sense either because the amusement park's in DC, but The Man Who Couldn't Die, she was already moved out to California. So yeah, I know. Order they're recording air dates are different. Wayne's World, Wayne compared Champagne. Oh, hold on. Let's see what Nancy got. Wayne's World, Wayne was comparing Champagne and said one was like TOS and the other was like, oh, I love that. That's great. I've only seen that once. Let's see. Stargate and Atlantis are gimmies. So many in those. Absolutely, Dave. Agreed. The other South Park, and this is the one that is tied for first place in my heart with Star Trek references. There is a South Park episode called The Human Centipede, and it is based off the Human Centipede movies, which I actually like. They're totally gross and disgusting, but I like them. And it's all based on the fact that Kyle never read his terms of service with Apple. And in the terms of service, every time, you click and agree, the whole thing was he didn't read them. And one of the parts of the terms of service was he consented to be used in experiments by Steve Jobs. So he got sucked into a human centipede. Well, not sucked in. Steve Jobs kidnapped him and made him part of a human centipede that was supposed to run an iPad. Like there was an iPad on the forehead of the first person in the human centipede. So when that happened to Kyle, his father's a PC guy, and he got the kids, took him to the what are they called? Genius. Took him to the Genius. I'm a PC person too. Took him to the Genius bar, and the Genius bar's like, we have to call the Khalifi. They did a whole Amok Time thing. So that one's definitely up there because not only was it Star Trek, but Amok Time's my favorite TOS episode. So they did a whole Amok Time thing to take Kyle away, put him on his dad's plan. Then his dad turned down the terms of service and it negated it, and they rescued Kyle. But great episode. Highly recommend if you can find it. I believe that is also on Max. No, I take that back. Paramount. Paramount Plus has South Park. So if you can find it on Paramount. This is my nerd deep cut. All right, Dave, go. Nerd deep cut. It's not a reference, but a borrow. Buck Rogers reused a matte background from a TNG episode. Coming of age. I'm not good with Buck Were Buck Rogers and TNG on at the same time? That's weird. I always thought Buck predated all of that. I mean, it's not. Buck Rogers reused a matte background from a TNG episode. Was Buck Rogers really on at the same? I'm not questioning. That just blows my mind. Seriously, that just completely blows my mind because I really thought Buck Rogers predated all of that. It feels like it predated all of that. In fact, yeah, Buck Rogers was on in 79. I'm looking it up now. It was on, and it was only on for 3 seasons. So 79 to 80, 80 to 81, and 81 to 82. Did you mean that in the other way round? Yep. Okay. There we go. That makes more sense. Yep. That makes more sense backwards. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I was going to say, I had thought Buck Rogers. Not by much. I mean, not by too terribly much. But yeah, I thought so. Okay. So the one of the other Star Trek references, and again, this low-hanging fruit because it is a sci-fi show, but DC Legends of Tomorrow did this, and I did like DC Legends of Tomorrow. Believe it or not, I liked DC Legends of Tomorrow. Really did. Even though Brandon Roush was in it. But they did this episode, and I think this was actually in their last season. They got caught up in this whole becoming part of TV shows theme. It got caught up in being part of this TV show thing, and they did like a rip on Star Trek that they called Star Trip, and it was really, 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 really cute. It was really cute. Wow, Buck Rogers actually won an Emmy. Okay. Technically, it was on for. It feels like it was 3 seasons because they did like a couple things on Earth, and then they did that really stupid Searcher thing. Same thing. Alien Nation. Did you guys know Alien Nation was only on for 1 season and 5 movies? Seriously. Awakening. Sorry, now I'm going down a Buck Rogers. Now I'm going down like a Buck Rogers wormhole because my sister loved that show. She sort of got me into it. Yep, there you go. It's okay, Dave. And for those of you that don't know, the Buck Rogers theme actually has words. I'm not singing them, but it does have words. It's in the movie. Okay, Futurama was really cool too. I have not seen this one. I watch Futurama off and on, but Futurama did one, and I did not know this, that in the world of Futurama, you are not allowed to talk about or watch Star Trek. So they did this whole Star Trek thing, and they got most of the surviving cast members to recreate their characters and voice their characters. Yeah, you do. I bought that was, Alien Nation is the one and only TV series I own. Well, I own like the entire thing because it's only one season. His brother did the song for Buck Rogers movie. Yes, I did know that the Star Trek theme had. I don't know what they are, but I did know that the original Star Trek theme has lyrics. So Nancy, I should introduce you to my sister. You guys could talk about Buck Rogers. She's a huge Buck Rogers fan. No, I completely lost my train of thought. It was something. Oh, yeah. Okay. So Futurama did this whole thing where the original cast of TOS voiced their own characters, which was very cool. Which they also did in Family Guy with TNG, which was really funny because Stewie invented his own transporter pad and he beamed them all in, and then he ended up spending the day with them. And then the best scene ever was when Stewie took him to the drive-in, and they're all in this one car at a drive-in, like for McDonald's, or I think it was McDonald's. And I think Michael Dorn asked if they still had the what was it, the McDLT, the one that came in the split box, hot on one side, cold on the other. That's very cool. I'll have to see if I can find somewhere online. Let's see. That doesn't surprise me either. I don't watch I used to be a huge Simpson fan, but we're talking all the way back to the Tracy Ullman days. Have you ever read the novel Star Trek Enterprise Next Full Measure? Why, no, Oxtail. That is one that I have not read. I do have Enterprise novels. I just have not read that one. Okay. So what else? Okay, so I mentioned Family Guy. Oh, here's another one that I really like. And again, it's kind of subtle and kind of funny. Doctor Who. In the first season of Doctor Who, one of my favorite episodes is a two-parter called The Empty Child and The Doctor Dances. It's Christopher Eccleston. When I say first season, I mean the 05 reboot. Christopher Eccleston. And it was early in her relationship with the Doctor, and he doesn't do a lot, he researches things. He does a lot of legwork, and he does a lot of legwork. And she's like, no, she wanted science, techie stuff. She wanted Mr. Spock. She's like, why can't you do Mr. Spock? Or however Rose said it, why can't you be Mr. Spock? And that went on for a couple of for the two episodes, because then Captain Jack showed up and she was all excited because he did Spock stuff. He did techie stuff. Did Sequest do Star Trek references? Because I know Star Trek, I know Shatner was in it, and I think it was the second one. Yeah, right. Airplane 2. You meant Airplane 2 as in the second movie. Yeah, didn't he try to walk through a door and it wouldn't open and he walked into it? That's what I'm talking about. Like, because Nancy had mentioned there's an episode of Diagnosis Murder called Alienated, and she suggested that I go and look it up, and I did. It's got Grace Lee Whitney. It's got Bill Mumy. It's got Walter Koenig. It's got a ton of Star Trek people. That's awesome. If they're Star Trek people, just as an homage, like we're throwing all these people together, haha, nostalgia, that's awesome. But did they actually reference Star Trek? Because LeVar Burton was in an episode of, I don't know if you guys have ever seen Leverage. It's a fantastic show. Okay, there you go. Nomad in Star Trek. Oh, that's right. Grace Lee Whitney was in Batman. Lots of crossover in the 60s. So Leverage was on Fox. Leverage was on network TV, and now they came out with Leverage Redemption, which is on Freevee. and I love Leverage because of Gina Bellman. She's an actress from the BBC show Coupling. I think she's actually probably one of the big reasons I tuned in. That and Christian Kane, who was from or I originally saw him in Angel. Anyway, so the one nerd on Leverage, their hacker dude, whose name I cannot remember, is a huge Star Trek fan. And in Leverage, they were talking Klingon and doing all the cool nerdy shit, all the cool nerdy stuff. They got LeVar Burton on. And at one point, a couple of the Leverage people made some sort of Star Trek reference, and LeVar Burton's character went, huh? And they said something, oh, it's Star Trek. And LeVar's like, oh, never watched it. That kind of stuff. That is my favorite kind of stuff. Scotty was in Knight Rider 2000. He referenced Star Trek. Oh, there you go. Knight Rider 2000. Bob O'Reilly was in 2 episodes of the original Knight Rider, and when they told him that he was acting with a talking car, he didn't think the show was going to last. Only went 3 seasons, but Star Trek mentions Star Trek. Not for the purposes of this show, no, but good on you for throwing that out there, Travis. Yeah, but Bob O'Reilly was in 2 episodes of that, and he said the first time that they told him he was acting with a talking car, and it really didn't. I mean, 3 seasons and a couple of movies in Knight Rider 2000, which was what, 1 season, maybe. But it is pop culture. It is, cult classic, pop culture classic, whatever you want to call it. But it is, and I love my Knight Rider. The first time that I ever made a phone call with my Samsung watch a few years ago, and I got to go like this and talk into my watch, I thought was the coolest thing on the planet. I kept wanting to call my mom Kit because I called her to ask her something. I'm like, I want to just say, come get me, Kit. All right. So those are my picks. I know there are a million more out there. I know I could probably do an entire month of just finding these really cool, shows, like normal shows. So we're kind of buttoned up to getting close to my favorite, all-time favorite. And so you guys keep thinking, because you can throw them out there. But my second, Night Court, the original Night Court, those writers were absolute fans. They used to throw out Star Trek references all the time. Thanks, Dave. That's exactly what I was going for, the suspense. They throw out Night Court references left and right, or Night Court throws out Star Trek references left and right. There was one episode I just saw, Harry got locked in a safe, and you're in a safe, you make deals with God or whatever, and he had conversations with his conscience and all this, and then he finally gets out and he's talking to God again about, I get it, I shouldn't do crazy stunts, I shouldn't do this, I should live long and prosper, little things like that. There was this really funny one where there was a court case, there was a disturbance at a sci-fi convention. So it was TOS versus TNG, because TNG was brand spanking new, and it was old versus new fans, and they got in a big fight and they got hauled in front of the judge. There was even a guy wearing a visor. Their shirts, of course, were off market, colors, like neon colors and everything. And the judge found them all guilty. And the TOS people were screwed, and the TNG guys, like, you don't have any say over us. We're members of the Federation, or whatever it was he said. And he tapped his communicator and he said, beam us up. And they left and they got beamed out. the poor other Trek people were all like, it wasn't fair. They got to wear their communicators. Yes, that is very true. Not only did they make Bob Wheeler's, yeah, there you go, Bob Wheeler, the ancestor to all the songs. That's funny. Spaced Out might be the episode where you're thinking of Deanna going to the sci-fi. Oh, right. Yeah, I just watched that one too. Yep, that was just on. But that was funny, War Dog. And that's the thing. Night Court made a ton of references, but it also, and unbeknownst to them, like Brent, it had a ton of people that ended up in Star Trek, including The reboot Witch Mountain. Well, I don't think I ever watched the reboot because I love the original, but that's funny. But let's see. And I know I mentioned this before, but Max Grodenchek was on Night Court. And I've talked about this before, Nana Visitor, and it was just on a couple days ago. Nana Visitor was in it. Of course, Brent Spiner was in it. John Larroquette, who was in Star Trek 3 Search for Spock. I'm trying to think. I know that there were some other. Oh, James Cromwell was in a really cute episode of Night Court. Who else? I'm sure it'll come to me after. See, now Travis, you killed it. You killed it. This is what I was leading up to. And this is what inspired this entire episode, was that the new Night Court, which still has John Larroquette as part of it, had a, that's okay, Travis, had a episode a couple weeks ago with a science fiction convention was in town. I think they were actually trying to make it sound as big as Comic-Con. And Dan was trying to hide from Wendy Malick's character because she was stalking him and he was worried. And so a couple of Dan's coworkers came up with this really great idea to disguise him. And they disguised him as a Klingon. And the first thing out of his mouth was, "This feels familiar." And then when Wendy Malick's character started talking to him, and she was dressed as Julie Newmar's Catwoman, and she actually looked pretty good. They could have done a little bit better with the costume, made it not so baggy, but because she could have pulled off the cat suit as it was, but she looked fantastic. She did perfect Julie Newmar costume. And she started talking to Dan, and Dan didn't want her to know who it was, and she asked what his name was, and he said, "Maltz." And in that moment, that episode became my very favorite non-Star Trek show to mention Star Trek, because that was the ultimate use of Dan. And what's really funny is my parents saw it first, and I asked, and my mom's like, "That's not what he called himself," and she was wrong. And I was just like, "Oh, Mom, of course he called himself Maltz." That was so perfect. And yeah, I thought that was great. And it was a perfect homage. And Dan still looks good as a Klingon. John Larroquette still looks pretty darn good as a Klingon. So yeah, well, you know what? I mean, Kirk said, I guess Kirk never went through with the "I'll kill you later," because he lied. Remember? He did lie. He said he wasn't going to kill him. So who knows what happened to Maltz? I mean, they took him to Vulcan, and then what? I don't know. Probably didn't want to go back to the Empire after that, because he probably should have killed himself. Probably should have tried to take back the ship and died with honor, trying to take his ship back, and he didn't. And so he is probably living in exile somewhere. So it's entirely possible that he fled to Earth, or stowed away when they went to go look for the whales. Who knows? But Kirk didn't kill him. He lied. So, but yeah, I just thought that was great. I like the new Night Court. I think they mentioned the dad. Yes, exactly. He will not go to Sto-vo-kor, Nancy. You're absolutely right. Maltz is not going to make it to Sto-vo-kor. I do not remember what the Klingon version of hell is. Eric Pierpoint knows. I do not, and so does B'Elanna, but I do not remember what it's called. Nobody dies in Star Trek. That's true too. Nobody dies in Star Trek. They might kill them, but they end up coming back. Yeah, but I don't know. Have they ever done that with a Klingon? Do that with everybody else. I guess it wouldn't be so unheard of. Thank you, Robert Grethor. Thank you. Very much like the River Styx. That was, see, look at that. I can actually make Voyager references even though I barely watch it. So that about does it for me, unless you guys... I'm assuming that we're talking about in that DS9 episode. I can't remember his name. Yes, at 558. Whew. Okay. Scared me there for a second because you used the actor's name. I've actually met Bill. Bill, it was hello, East Dubuque Bridge. Thanks for joining us. Yes, I am back. And I appreciate you hanging out. Yeah, and this is what's really funny. I met Bill Mumy at a convention that I worked. This was a while ago, and really nice guy. And I saw his DS9 8x10, and I asked him. It was it must have been like 2017 before I really dove back into everything. So I said, I said, I know I should know this, but which series? And he said DS9. And I said, oh, do you know Nicole DeBoer? And he said, yeah, I died in her arms. And I went, oh my gosh, I know Nikki. And so we talked a little bit about Nicole and, bonded over that. He's swell. He's a swell guy. He's really funny too. I was, the first day of the convention, he said something, he was walking past me and he said something about going to dinner. And I was teasing him and I said, don't get lost. And his response to me was, you're going to end up in the cornfield. So I thought that was great. He's pretty funny. I do like Bill a lot. Nice guy, lovely wife. I also got a chance to work with Mark Goddard and Marta Kane. Everybody that I've met from Lost in Space has been really nice. Really, really nice. Let's see. So anybody have any questions about San Francisco? They just added Todd Stashwick tonight. See, people I did not meet. See, between Robert and I, we've got pretty much the whole cast sewn up, right? Oh, you've met all but Guy. I thought you said you met them. Yeah, I haven't met them either. Stargate, they went back in the past and Jack said he was James T. Kirk of Star. Oh, that's funny. That's funny, Pook. I love that. And hello. So they just added Todd Stashwick. Like I said, I can't wait. Dave Sapone, who I'm trying to get on as a guest, is going to be there. So I intend to bug him more about coming on to be a guest. I don't know who I'm going to get to talk to. I didn't look to see if Todd's going to be in the vendor room or if he's under the whole creation thing where you only get to see him if you pay to get his autograph. But we shall see. I'm just, oh yeah. And there's a Rat Pack. I can't wait. There's a Rat Pack performance. Always good. This would be twice in a couple months and I'm going to get to see the Rat Pack. So I'm really excited about that. Don't know if I'm going to do any live streaming. I might. That's sort of kind of one of the reasons I'm there. If I can get permission to do that. The one thing you never want to do is go against any creation rules. And I happen to like a lot of the people that work for creation. So the one thing I'm not going to do is flout their rules. So, but that leaves Monday, May 11th. Right now, I am planning a show. Why? Because my mom does not want to have dinner at 10 o'clock at night. So, assuming I'm awake, assuming nothing gets messed up with my flights, and maybe the fact that I can take a nap when I get home and get done my day job, I am still planning to have a show. It's going to be, obviously, this one's easy. It's going to be a San Francisco recap. If you've got questions for anybody on their guest list, I'm more than happy to see about getting you guys answers. You know that they have to be in the vendor room. I am not gonna put cameras in people's faces this time around. It's a 3-day weekend. It's new territory for everybody. I'm going to try and be respectful, but if I can ask somebody a question and grab a quick answer from them, I absolutely will. So if you want to go check out who's going to be there on the creation website, feel free. Creation, you have to do it from the banner though. I love their websites always suck. It's not listed. The last time I looked, the convention's not listed on their convention page. You have to scroll through the top slideshow till you get to the big banner for San Fran and click on it. And then you'll get to the San Fran webpage and then you can go down and see guests. I know Jerry Ryan's going to be there. Terry Metalis is going to be there. I might try and chat him up. I would love to have him on the show. So he's definitely a goal. If timing is everything in life. Of course, I'm going to go say hi to Connor and Dominic. I will not be asking them anything about the show, I'm just going to go say hi. Because the one thing I will say is, Mark has said that the show will go on. The two of them said that they're leaving and they may have something else on the horizon. Whatever it is, I support everybody, and I also respect everybody. They're going to tell us what they want us to know, and it'll be whatever they decide is going to be public knowledge is going to come from them. It's not going to come from speculation, and it's not going to come from the rest of us guessing. And it is definitely, and I know you guys are awesome and you guys would never do this, but it is also not going to come from people badgering them online. So this is I'm closing with a little PSA since I am going to go see them this weekend. Like I said, I have the utmost respect for everybody that is involved in the Shuttlepod show. And the Shuttlepod show everybody is going to say what they're going to say publicly, and they are not going to say what they're not going to say. And we all have to respect that, whatever it is. So I will be seeing them. I will be saying hi to them, but please don't expect me. And I don't think you guys would, but please, nobody should expect me to ask them any intrusive, why did you leave questions, because I'm not going to do that. Because like I said, I respect them, and Mark and Erica and everybody else involved in the show. So, but like I said, go check it out. If there's anybody that's going to be in the vendor's room that you have one question, you can shoot it to me in a DM. You can shoot it to me wherever you want. You know where I am all over the socials. Let me know. And if I get a chance and I can get you an answer to a question, that will be part of the recap next week. Again, a show is happening next week, even though I'm taking a red eye in from San Fran Sunday night. And I am landing in Philadelphia at about 11:30 in the morning. And on top of all of that, it is daylight savings time is over next weekend. The convention actually loses an hour because we're springing ahead on Sunday morning. So yeah, I am probably going to be dragging tail and setting up an IV in my office for coffee. So anyway, don't be surprised if you see that, just so I can get through this. Exactly, Dave. Exactly. Keep the respect. And respect the community. I mean, it's amazing the community that got built up around the Shuttlepod show, and that's not going anywhere. So let's not forget that either. So guys, listen, thanks for coming and hanging out with me. We all lose an hour and I'm losing it. I can't wait for Congress to finally decide that it's just stupid and we can just pick one way or the other. I like it. I don't like losing the hour. You're so welcome, Nancy. I don't like losing the hour, but I do like that it's going to get lighter or darker later. It's my favorite part. Like I said, I don't know the science. Like, I would just like to stay. I'd like to stay in daylight savings time. I'd like to not fall back, but I don't know if that's feasible. But that's kind of where I'm at. So guys, listen, it was so good of you to come back. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for waiting for me. Thank you for being understanding as always. And I could not do this without you. So I am so glad that you're all here. So anyway, guys, thanks again. So glad you were here. Can't wait to go to San Fran. Can't wait to tell you all about it next week. And until I see you, please don't forget to live long and prosper.
This is Connor Turner. You've been listening to the NX7062 podcast with Stephanie.